Welcome to the Savage Productions YouTube channel.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Savage Productions YouTube channel. I'm back in Kentucky this week. We actually came back to pack up a lot of our stuff to ship back to Colorado. So we're going to be here this week, and I'm going to record some videos for you all while I'm here. Because Dad's been a little bit behind on the content because he's been super busy here. We have a lot of these long-term projects here, but what you don't see pretty much on the channel at all is like these short-term little bolt-on projects or like little fix-it projects that come in here that, keep the shop going. These long-term projects, they're big bills. They make money for the shop, but it's not like it all gets delivered all at once. So, but yeah, we're here. We're gonna record this video on the 427 swap Mustang. They have it done. We're actually gonna try to take it for a little ride today, but we have to do some clearancing on the steering shaft right now because, well, not clearancing on the steering shaft, clearancing for the steering shaft on the long tube header because it's currently hitting. You happy to have me back here this week?
What?
No, I guess. Okay, fine. I guess I'll just be on my way then.
No, we're good. Glad you're back.
Cool.
For a damn week.
Yeah, for a week. So let me show you the issue that we're having with the steering shaft. Some of you may know long tube headers plus steering shaft sometimes don't equal much clearance, and it's hitting right there on that corner. Right there. I think it's hitting right now, but when it spins over it does. So we're looking at options to how to fix that. And right now, with the way that these what is this, AJE suspension K-member?
Yeah.
With the way that it is set up, there's actually like a left and right movement to it. So we're gonna see if we can actually move the entire engine over to the left.
I'll tighten that back up. Since we know we have clearance, we can move that one. I'm gonna check this side.
Yeah.
I don't want to have them both loose and that motor shift on us.
Yeah, so as he's saying, you can see here, there's like a little oblong area because there's this big oval where this goes through. And we did see that we had some clearance on the right side, meaning that the entire block itself can shift this way, getting it further away from the steering shaft. So we're gonna check this one as well and make sure that we can move it over. We don't really want to move it all too much because the whole drivetrain is all lined up, of course. But we do have good clearance on like the left side here and everything else. And the drive shaft really will take any kind of left and right movement out of it. It's not going to move all that much because we have all this buttoned up and everything like that. It's going to be a little difficult, but we'll see. It should be all right.
I wonder if there's any movement on the motor mounts on the block.
I don't know. I don't think so. So we got this one loosened up, and as you can see right there, there's just a little bit of room, about 1/8 of an inch, which really that's about all we want to go. We don't really want to move it too much. We don't really have to move it too much, so we can give that a shot. We'll keep this loose, and I think we should go ahead and loosen this one and just try moving it over. It's not a whole lot of room, but hopefully that gives us what we need. All right, we got the clearance done. I think that right there is the closest point. So before we actually did do a little bit of hitting on the header. If you can see, right there, we dented in just a little bit. And if you didn't know, denting in on a header does not restrict the volume of exhaust gases that can go through it, so it's not a huge deal.
As long as it's not dented in too far.
Yeah, I mean, if you're flattening it like a pancake, of course. But yeah, that won't restrict anything. But what we did, we ended up moving it over that way just about 1/8 of an inch, as you saw the hole that we had available there. But what we ended up doing at the end was putting a spacer on the top of the mount right there. I don't know if you can see that. There's a spacer in there, and then there's one on the other side. And that lifted the block up about, 1/8 of an inch here, probably 1/2 of an inch up here, or 1/4. And that was pretty much all we needed.
Yeah, it made a big difference just by lifting up.
Yeah.
Just raising the motor 1/8 of an inch not only lifts it up, but it must kind of tilt it away.
Right. Well, we did the same thing on my car when we had the 331 in it. We had, I think, 2 or 3 spacers on the passenger side to get the oil pan to have enough clearance on the stock K-member. We ended up doing that, so that's kind of where we got the idea from. But 2 little spacers worked, and those are really good, strong spacers that are actually used for headers, or not headers, heads. You put those in.
Those are ARP head bolt washers.
Washers, yeah, that's it.
So they're chrome moly steel.
Yeah, which they're not going to flatten out over time.
That's why it's best to use those.
Yeah. So that's the last thing that we needed to do up underneath this thing for now. The only other thing that is left on this car really is the frame connectors. So let me go ahead and show you just kind of an overview, or an underview, I guess, of everything that's going on underneath the car. We'll just kind of point out things that we did, and then we're going to lower the car down. We need to wash it. The top is really dirty. We're just going to wipe it down, get the dust off, and show you in the engine bay and everything else that's going on, and we're going to try to take it for a little ride here in a bit. Okay, so starting underneath, we put a Yukon gear and axle, rear end, and axle kit in it. If you want to see that, we did a complete video install on it. Just click right up there. We ended up putting the rear sway bar back on, which you don't really want to use these in a drag application, but this isn't a drag application. He's going to be streeting this thing a lot. That's why we have a little bit wider front skinnies up front. But we did all this, did all the custom brakes. We had the disc brake kit on the back, which these are, what, remanufactured Cobra brakes, right, Dad?
Yeah, 93 Cobra disc brakes.
Okay.
And they're remanufactured.
Yeah, that's in that same video, I believe. If you want to see that, just check that out. We've got a drive shaft in here. What brand of drive shaft is this?
Drive shaft shop.
Okay. So this took a little bit of a while to get, just because everybody's out of aluminum drive shafts right now. So yeah, we have the 4 Innovations fuel lines and the fittings right here. And then inside of the tank, there's a quantum fuel system of 320 liter per hour. 320? Right?
320 liter per hour. The drop-in hat, the reason we use those is the drop-in hat is a factory drop-in, but it has a number 8 AN feed and a 6 AN return line.
Okay.
Well, fitting.
Right.
So that's the lines that we have, is an 8 feed and a 6 return. This is basically an exact copy of what we had on your car when you had your 331 in it.
Right.
And that fuel pump and these lines, the fuel pump will support 700. And the lines, of course, fuel injected. These things, they'll support 1,000, 900 to 1,000. So
On 93.
yeah, on 93 octane.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we went with E85 and all that, then yeah, you'd have to bump up a size, like we're going to do on yours, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, on mine, we're actually just going to take the 8 and make it the return, and then run a 10.
Yeah,
right?
take the 6 off and run a 10.
Yeah, maybe even a 12.
But this is plenty fuel for what he's
Right.
wants. So, but we used the Quantum because it's the same one that we had on yours, and it was great. We had no fitment issues. The fuel lines are 4 Innovations. The fuel lines and fittings are 4 Innovations. We are a dealer for them.
Oh, yeah.
And their fitment is just awesome. I mean, if you guys ever put together fuel lines and had issues with the fittings going into the line, you don't have that with 4 Innovations. They go together very easy.
Yeah.
So we use that, and then we have this is actually a Summit Racing filter. It's got you can remove one side to replace the cartridge inside.
Right.
So and it fits in the factory holder just fine. You just get some rubber. I use
Radiator hose.
radiator hose, and we
Yep.
cut it.
It's the same thing we did on mine.
Same thing we did on yours, and once you put it on and clamp it, it's in there for good. It's not going anywhere.
Right. And we added some heat wrap around where the fuel line goes, because he did want to run the full exhaust, and this is the Flowmaster, what'd you call it?
I think it's the American Thunder.
American Thunder or something?
Well, it's basically a 50 series muffler. It's a Flowmaster 50 series, which is a 3-chamber instead of 2.
Yeah.
And it's all 2.5 inch. Runs out. It's got the factory 2.5 inch tips for the GTs.
Yep, it looks good. And it's real quiet when it's running, although it sounds radical.
It's real. I mean, it's got that muscle car sound. It's not like super loud.
Right.
When you drive them, you can talk. You can hear the radio, but you know there's something there.
Yeah.
And when you crack down on it, it gets loud, but it gets loud out the back.
And then you did this custom little modification here to fit it up to the BBK X pipe.
Yeah, because it
looks professional, man.
Yeah. Maybe we'll
like
open up a muffler shop.
Like you're a muffler shop in here.
Hey, we thought about doing that, buying a bender.
Yeah.
And doing mufflers.
I know. Apparently there's not many muffler shops around here that'll do custom work.
There's only one, so.
Yeah.
But, so what it is, with this K-member, we think, because of the, it's a 351 deal, they're giving it enough room that it's sitting forward just a little bit.
Right.
We kind of noticed that because of the way the shifter housing is. It looks like it sits a little bit to the front than where it should be, which in return causes this muffler to come in contact. So not this one, but just this one. So we had to extend
a little close.
Yeah, we had to extend it, but it's solid and it doesn't hit or nothing. So
yeah,
it's good there.
And right now we have the our O2 sensors attached to it that run up to our controller. Of course, that's going to come off and be plugged.
Yeah, we're just doing that to see what the AFR is.
Yeah,
which actually is good at idle, right where it needs to be. And once we drive it, we'll see where all that is. Because we don't have a tune on this computer. I mean, we're running Works 50-pound injectors. Because we've used them on a lot of stuff, man. They work great, and for the money, they're just less expensive.
Right.
And so we got those on here. We have a Pro M, an 80mm Pro M.
Oh yeah.
Mass air.
Let me show that since it's up underneath the car. I'm going to show you the top once we get it down and get it cleaned off. But mass air filter sitting down in there, and then what you can't see because everything is blocked. Yeah. I don't know, maybe I can shove this up in there. Yeah, there we go. There's the Pro M mass air meter.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's
that's kind of the reason why this thing runs the way it does, even being a completely different engine.
Yeah. So we're actually a dealer for Pro M too, and they make some great stuff. So when you order a Pro M meter, you basically spec it out. You spec it out if you run stock computer, if it's going to be tuned or not, what size injectors, if it's going to be after, like say you run a cold air kit. Is it going to be at the end of the cold air kit after the 90, or is it going to be between the 90 and the throttle body? All that makes a difference.
Yeah.
So when you order these, you spec them out. And thing idle's great. I mean, it doesn't have a tune. We got the fuel pressure at stock setting. And it freaking just idles good. Seems to run good. We're going to take it for a ride and see how it actually does. But
well, let's get this thing lowered, cleaned off a little bit, and show them the rest because it looks freaking awesome up there. Oh yeah, we also went with the old school weld drag lights. This is what the customer wanted. He specifically wanted these just for the old school look. But we got some fresh Mickey Thompson ET Street SS's on there. We're running the 255 60-15. These are what, like 26s?
So we went with the 255s because they're actually 27 tall.
Okay.
They're not quite as wide as the 275.
Right.
But we didn't want to go with a 28 because the 28s will rub on
the GT body kit.
Yep. And he doesn't want any rubbing. So if you go with a 255 60, you still get a nice meaty tire, and it's only 27 tall, and you don't have any problems with it rubbing at all. So
yeah, we didn't have to beat in. I mean, anything. We didn't do any of the.
No, you don't have to do anything
inside.
With this tire. See, look at the clearance inside, and the offset on this. So these are a 15x8, and they have a 5.5-inch off space.
Backspace. You combine offset and backspacing.
Yeah. So if you went with a 10, you'd go with a 6.5-inch backspacing,
Yeah.
And it would get you real close to the inside. You'd have to beat on it and all that.
Yeah.
But,
And
didn't
an
want none of that.
inch that way and an inch this way too, right?
Yeah. So we're running stock springs. They still have the isolators, the rubber isolators on the top to keep the noise down.
Yep.
So that's why it's going to kind of sit in the stock ride height.
Yeah.
Which we have enough. If we went with a 275 tire, it would have been 28 tall.
Right.
We would have had. We have plenty of clearance up, but you start running into clearance mainly on the front side.
Yeah.
So that's why we went with this one. It's only 27. Kind of looks like it has a little bit more of a gap than it should on the back when it's sitting down, but
Well, we haven't really moved it around either, which will let it settle just a little
Yeah,
bit.
it'll settle a little bit, but it's just it's something that you can take out. You don't have to worry about when you hit bumps, nothing's going to rub. So
Right.
That's really what you're looking for.
Yeah. And he just wanted the look, really. Like I said, he's not going to be drag racing this thing a whole lot. He might take it up there just a couple times to just kind of see what it does. But he's not worried too much about just all the grip, so he doesn't need a super wide tire.
Yeah. So these are this is a 15 by 6 wheel.
Yep.
And you basically get, this is a Mickey Thompson
Sportsman SR.
SR Sportsman, just like what you would have like on a skinny.
Yep.
But this one is a 26 by 8.
Okay.
Okay.
Huh.
So
Is that the widest that they make these?
No, they got them larger.
Really?
Yeah, they got them.
Oh yeah, actually, they had these that go on like those 15-inch wide rims.
Yeah, they got them.
I've seen them like on the hot rods.
You can run these on the back.
Yeah.
Too. But I mean, these are front runners.
Yeah.
I like them. But yeah, that's the same ones you got, but yours is what, a 15 by 3?
I think 3.5 or 4.
Yeah, but they're, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a 15 by 4, but they're on a 3.5-inch wheel or something. I forget. But yeah, so this kind of gives you that skinny appearance when it's on the car.
Right.
But they handle great, man.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. All right, well, let's get this thing down, get it cleaned off, and we'll show you what the engine bay looks like, because it turned out really nice.